fellow Transformer buffs, future voice actor here again. This time I'm going to deviate from my Nevertomes videos that pertain to my own material and do a pilot episode of sorts wherein I do reviews of Transformers figures. I just got this one in the mail today, and he's not from the current Earthrise or Kingdom toy lines. Let's start off with the box. Now this thing is really sweet. I just love the graphics on this box, the art of both his faces and his vehicle mode, and all that glossy airbrushed glory. Now, I've never been to Botcon, but having this in hand more than makes up for it. Unless I could have met Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, Michael Bell, or Neil Ross, but I digress. Straight out of the box, he is a repaint of the 2008 Sunstreaker with a retooled head. From this view, he has black stripes and glittery dark blue finish, accented by a smoky and translucent windshield. Putting him down in vehicle mode for comparison, here he is with the Sunstreaker figure decked out with Toy Hacks labels thanks to the wonderful salesmanship of Patriot Prime. You rock, bro. Let's get Punch into robot mode. While I get him situated, let me share my voice actor trivia with you concerning Punch. In the animated series, Punch and his alter ego were voiced by Blur's voice actor John Machida Jr., one of the fastest talkers on the planet. His only appearances were sadly confined to parts 1 and 2 of The Rebirth, and an awesome commercial narrated by Victor Corelli featuring Punch and the clones. Whereas in Japan, he was a counter-spy for the Autobots in the Headmaster cartoon by voice actor Masaharu Sato. Let me just say, when it comes to the Japanese exclusive shows, you don't want the dub, you want the sub. We'll start off with Counterpunch's robot mode. Now, like with Sunstreaker and their mold mates, he comes with the two small accessories, the exhaust and the intake vents that make the impossible-to-hold gun, which I personally never use for either of these. Now, I ordered these off of eBay to give them that realistic feel of the G1 figure and the cartoon. For Counterpunch, we've got this nice black blaster. Right here off to the side is the twin-barreled blaster for Punch, decked out in a nice glossy yellow, which we'll see in a bit. Look at that craftsmanship. 3D print artists are really amazing. Now let's get a closer look at the scowly faceplate of Counterpunch. Very menacing. I like. And for an initial comparison, here's Counterpunch next to fellow Autobot. Yes, I don't subscribe to him being a Decepticon at Spark, Sunstreaker. Apart from the head, not much is different about the mold itself. Like with the other 2008 Lambors, rotating the chest releases the head from the inner chassis. Now let's get the real scoop from Punch. Stand by. And there he is. Now a lot of videos I saw about this figure made mention of the duck pose. Well, his waist can actually rotate 360 degrees, so all you have to do is just lift up the chest just a little bit for clearance and rotate it. You'll get the legs to change sides and have them stand up straight. Overall, he's a great figure. I like him a lot. He adds something to the table that my Amazon Punch didn't with the head twisting out. The car doesn't have the odd-looking windshield like with the aforesaid Punch. The only negatives are the upside-down fists that Punch has when you turn the arms around, or else you have to switch them out, which is a chore to say the least. Now for a good look at his faceplate. Like with Counterpunch, he's got a good face sculpt. I know that the size of his head is a problem for a lot of other people, but for me, I consider it an acceptable trade-off. Now the thing that pops out for me is Punch's face is completely yellow. It doesn't bother me that much. I'm sure using an enamel silver or a white paint could solve that problem, but I'm kind of afraid to try. If anyone has ever tried that, let me know in the comments below. One thing I also like is that he reminds me a lot of his fellow Autobot Nightbeat, specifically the Thrilling 30 version. For size comparison, here he is with Moldmate Sunstreaker again, this time holding his 3D printed blaster. I love the contrasting blue and yellow between these two. The arms are my only gripe. Punch was featured in what I consider one of my all-time favorite series, the mini-series from IDW, Transformers 84 Secrets and Lies, written by fan-favorite Simon Furman and beautifully drawn by artist Guido Guidi in the Ben Day dot fashion. This series spotlights what happened on Cybertron 4 million years ago to present between the original Marvel issues 1 and 17. Before we do some other size comparisons, I'm going to show you a clip that I doctored a little bit of Punch's first appearance in the US animated series.
Wingspan and Pounce, what are those spies up to? Time for me to do a little spying of my own as a Decepticon. Galvatron told me to check up on you. Beat it, Counterpunch! We don't need my Autobot counterpunch. I've heard he's nearby. Real nearby.
So here he is in his vehicle mode again with Sunstreaker, and here he is with the Siege in Generation 2 Sideswipe, my personal favorite deluxe class figure. Here he is recreating that scene with Target exclusives Wingspan and Pounce. Here he is after his secret is blown by Earthrise Runamuck and Runabout, like they did with Scourge and Ghost in the Machine, where they say Galvatron has put a bounty over his head. And here's Counterpunch next to Battletrap, just like in issue 0 of the IDW miniseries. In Autobot mode, here he is along with the Autobot clones, features Punch with Leader Class Earthrise Optimus. And finally, here he is with another personal favorite of mine, Titans Return Deluxe Class Hot Rod. Now, I will say that this figure is not easy to come by any means, nor is it cheap. But if you ever happen to get the opportunity to get him, I would say that you should go for it. That's just my opinion. But I happen to like this mold, and I plan to do a review of the Generation 2 breakdown when I get him in the mail in a few days. If you haven't noticed by now, I'm a huge Generation 2 fan. And that's how I got into Transformers in the first place. I was in elementary school when Generation 2 was on TV. All in all, I would give Botcon's Punch Counterpunch an 8.5 out of 10. If I didn't have the upgrade kit weapons, it would be a 6 out of 10. The transformation is kind of wonky and is also a little bit of a pain at times. And it's kind of hard to get him to stand upright even when I rotate his legs. But in each of its modes, it just screams awesome. The colors, the gimmicks, the little details. There's very little about this figure that I have to gripe about. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. And that'll do it for this pilot episode of Blue Cliff Reviews. If you enjoyed this and want me to continue to make these videos, I would welcome your feedback. If you did enjoy it, be sure to check out my other videos on my channel, including the Transformers Titans Returns head-to-head challenge videos, a fashion show to determine by viewers whose head they like best on the featured body. And also be sure to check out my Unsolved Nevertomes if you're as big a Robert Stack fan as I am, better known as Ultra Magnus.